If the Florida Gators beat the LSU Tigers this Saturday, here's what they need to do it.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day we are available daily and free, wherever you listen to the podcast and on YouTube. Happy Thursday. I am Brandon Olsen. For anybody that tuned into swampsignal.substack.com yesterday to look at our DJ Lagway USF All 22 breakdown, thank you. Great response. So very much enjoyed it. Had a ton of fun writing it and looking into it. Today's episode of Locked On Gators is brought to you by FanDuel. It's football season. Visit the FanDuel app today and start making some damn money on the NFL, on college, and have a good old time doing it. And for the Florida Gators going up against LSU, look, by the way, we will have crossover Thursday. Is actually going to be tomorrow. Just how the schedule worked out. So crossover Thursdays, crossover Friday this week. And today we're doing our usual, keys to victory, what they have to do to win. And first off, do the easy stuff. Look, this is boring to say, right? But we spoke about this with Brooks Austin on Tuesday. And we'll keep speaking about it until they get it right? And I know that it's annoying. I hate saying it. It's year 4, and we're talking about just do the easy things, right? Like just do the simple things. Like Brooks says, the chicken and rice. Just do the simple things. Just do what you have to do. Do the clean things. Do the simple things, and you're going to get a lot of positive results from it, right? And I will also say this, because I know that once I started with, if Florida's going to win, here's how they do it. I'm sure there were people that went, Florida's not going to win. Maybe not, right? Maybe not. But I'm not going to sit here and go, Florida can't win. You know why I'm not going to sit here and go, Florida can't win that game? Because that's loser energy. That's a loser mentality. And you are a loser if you feel that way. That's how losers feel. Okay? Even if you do want Billy fired, it ain't happening after a loss to LSU. I highly doubt that, right? So, and we had this last year. Where it's like, wanting a change, but wanting to win every game. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say Florida can't win. I get it. They lost to USF. That doesn't mean that you can't turn it around. Like, they lost to USF in a game where they played horrendously. A bunch of the things that they do poorly that happen every week, whether it's penalties or whether it's just not seeming prepared in some areas, no matter what it is, all of those happened against USF. So I'm not going to say that they can't go out there and win a game. I don't know if they will, right? It's probably not likely, but to say they can't, hell no, not going to do that. But it's boring to say, but it's true that Florida has to do the easy stuff, right? And you can look at, it felt like everybody and their mother all of a sudden wanted to do an all 22 breakdown of Florida after the USF loss. Watch any of them, right? Watch Brooks Austin with Film Guy Network. Watch, or I guess read swampsignal.substack.com. Read Zach Goodall did it with 24/7. Gator Nation Football Pod did it. There were other people, right? I think Seth Varnador did it. I think. There were a ton of people that did all 22 breakdowns, right? Watch the film, and everybody's going to tell you the same thing in some areas, right? They're going to tell you, hey, receivers were open. They were, and I'm not using this as justification for the scheme or the play calling or anything, but I am saying that there were multiple times during that game where receivers were open. And whether it was they didn't catch it or DJ Lagway missed the throw, they were incomplete passes. And at a higher rate than usual, right? Every game there's an open receiver where the quarterback misses it, whether he throws it in the dirt, airmails it, whether it's a drop, whatever it is. There's always incomplete passes that should have been completed. But last week they happened at such a high clip, it was crazy. Do the simple things, right? Like receivers that were open, that were missed, even if they weren't missed physically, like DJ Lagway just didn't see him. Find it, like watch the film and go, okay, like if a team's giving me this look, I might have that look available. Like I might have that receiver. or tight end or running back or whoever it may be. Find those receivers that were open and get them the football this time. If you missed the throw because you wanted to shoot a fadeaway, if you missed the throw because you were rolling and you rushed it a little bit, fix it. Fix it, okay? Like these are things that you can fix. So fix those things. There's some things you're not going to be able to fix, right? But those are things you can fix. Touchdowns taken off the board because of penalties. We had Tony Livingston had one taken off the board because of a Hayden Hansen offensive pass interference, which is the only call that I really, really disliked. That was the only call that I really disliked, just because I thought it was BS. Just because he wasn't blocking anybody. Like the thing is usually with OPI is they often call those when you start blocking. He wasn't blocking. He ran into a guy and pushed off a bit. Yeah, sure. And had he been targeted, OPI absolutely should have been called. But here's the thing. He wasn't targeted. And I don't even think he really pushed off. He extended his arms a bit, created a little bit of separation, sure. But that was it. Jacoby Jackson scored a rushing touchdown that got taken back with a hold. There were so many times where you had points. You had them. You had 7 points. And you lost them. And you settled for 3. And then you lost the game. One of those touchdowns, you win. I know that's not really how it works because obviously then the whole game would have gone differently, but you get the point. You get the point. Missed assignments in the run game and in the offensive line run game. We saw the clip that J. Bud Davis posted of where he initially posted it saying having Trey Wilson try to wham block a D tackle doesn't seem like a good idea. But you watch the film and we had, I forgot who it was. It was Max Toscano, I think it was. He quote tweeted it and he was like, hey, this is duo wrap. So what really happened was whoever was supposed to duo block that edge, if that was the duo man, whoever was supposed to get that edge, D lineman, we'll say, didn't. And then Trey tried to make the play, like stuff like that. Like you can't have that. You can't have guys just whiffing blocks. You can't have guys just completely not even attempting to block. Like I would rather you go out there and lose the block, like lose your matchup, than just watch you screw the play call up. Like either way, you're losing a rep, right? But at least if I'm losing a rep because I was mentally prepared and just not physically good enough, I can at least hang my head higher there, right? At least maybe that's just the way that I look at it, but I look at it that way. Things like that, like just missing assignments. It's not acceptable in year 4, especially when your offensive line, we were like, oh yeah, everybody that's on the O-line, everybody that's in the 2 deep was here last year. It's crazy to have that kind of retention rate on the offensive line. And yet somehow we got some guys in year 3 as starters, which I will also say, I can't remember a time specifically where I think Jake Slaughter or Austin Barber just assignment-wise blew the block. But you got guys that are multi-year starters here, and we've got missed assignments on the offensive line. Like, figure it out. Things like that shouldn't be happening. Again, I'm fine if you're losing reps, if you're losing this, if you're losing that, but you're shooting yourself in the foot, and it's incredibly frustrating, not just from a wanting to see clean football perspective, but from being a fan of the team. I want to see you not shoot yourself in the foot all the time. It's ridiculous. It's embarrassing to watch too. And it's embarrassing to be a fan. And I got like 45 text messages after that damn game of just people. I got an LSU fan laughing, texting me, but I got 45 text messages from people just talking about the game. When Florida lost, how the hell did that happen? Florida lost, like a whole bunch of stuff like that, just trash talk. It's embarrassing to have happen when the reason it happened isn't because, oh yeah, like they just really showed up and kicked our ass. Like, no, we just screwed up every step of the way. Do the simple things. Do the easy stuff. Do the basic stuff. Those mistakes shouldn't happen. And also, just play clean football for once. Just once. Once. You're going to be on the road, Death Valley. You can't go in there and say, hey, not only are we going to miss assignments, and by the way, like defense didn't play perfect either, but I care way more about what the offense did because defense didn't play perfect, but they gave up 1 touchdown. It was on a busted play that from the jump was busted. I know that they had a chance to recover, but the only reason they were in that spot is because they had the busted play. 1 touchdown allowed because of that. Then it was field goals and a safety. That's how they got their points. I got a hard time criticizing the defense too much for that. Just doesn't make sense to me, right? Shouldn't make sense to you either because it doesn't make sense. Like, just play clean football. Cut down the penalties. Missed tackles, I don't think were that bad, really. They happened in crucial moments, but in terms of quantity, they weren't that bad. Missing open receivers. Stuff like that is not year 4 football. Stuff like that is not QB1 second year starting football. These are things that need to be eliminated. And you got to figure it out quickly. Otherwise, you might not make it long enough to try to fix these things. Because again, I know that everybody's out on Billy, or a lot of people are out on Billy. I honestly am at the point where I think I'm just looking at him and I'm like, all right, well, we'll just see what happens, but I'm really not optimistic. But everybody's feeling some type of way about Billy Napier right now, right? It's easy to feel like that when you keep seeing sloppy football because you haven't given anybody a reason to buy back in. Now you have the chance to. Now you have the opportunity to. Players seem like they're fully bought in still. Good. Get the fan base back in. Because you might not make it long enough to turn it around if you don't figure it out quickly. Just want to throw that out there. We are about to talk about what the defense can do to help the Florida Gators win this game on Saturday when we get back with Locked On Gators. It is almost the weekend, so it's time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash streaks, saving money every time that you order. These players delivered when it mattered most. So we're going to break it down here. And we're talking about the guy that I spoke about, I think it was 2 days ago, Oklahoma Sooners. I'm not picking a Florida Gator. They don't deserve it. Oklahoma Sooners. John Mateer delivered it in a big way. I mean, you had Michigan. You had a game where I think a lot of people thought, oh, Oklahoma is going to do the Oklahoma thing. And they're going to lose this notable game. They're going to lose this big game. But no. John Mateer having a hell of a start to the season, by the way. Delivers for the Oklahoma Sooners on Saturday. Delivers a big win. With DoorDash streaks, you save every Saturday that you order. So you could stack it up all season and you could save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through November 18th. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free, right? Listen to the podcast and on YouTube. And one of the things that the defense needs to do is pressure Garrett Nussmeier. A lot of people will remember the game against LSU last year, right? The game that I think made a lot of people start saying, hey, Caleb Banks might end up being a decently high first-round pick. We haven't seen him yet this year. Should be back this week. You know, we were told when he got the boot on, a month ago, that, hey, you know, he could play if they need him. And then Long Island came and he didn't play. And everybody was like, all right, well, it's Long Island. And then USF came and he didn't play. And it was like, all right, well, not ideal, but it's USF. Florida should still be able to win this game. And then they didn't, of course. And so in hindsight, it looks really, really bad. Personally, I would have played him anyway. It's a group of 5 opponent. I'm not overlooking them. Long Island was the only game I've ever been like, yeah, Florida's winning this game handedly. Anything else? Nope. Ole Miss, I said they were winning. But even then, that wasn't a talent thing. That was sometimes you got to WWE these things and the storyline is greater than the actual game. That happens in college football a lot. But Caleb Banks should be back. Feasted against LSU last year. And I will also say this, because I know that Billy was asked about this in, I think, Monday's press conference about the team only having 1 sack this year and if that was concerning. And I feel like the answer is really clear Like, I don't think it needed to be a question either. And Billy, when he responded to it, kind of further confirmed that it didn't really need to be a question, I think. But it's not surprising that Florida hasn't had a ton of sacks this year. First off, they didn't have them at the start of the year last year either. But I'm not concerned about the lack of sack numbers so far because week 1, you played a triple option team. And look, I know that everybody's criticizing Billy right now. I have been too. But there's some things he says that are right. Week 1, you played a triple option team. Not many opportunities to sack the quarterback when they're not dropping back to throw the football. A sack requires it to be a passing play. So you can't sack them if they're running triple option. So not concerned about it there, right? Not concerned about it there at all. Then last week, you played a Brile spread, veer and shoot, I don't care what you want to call them, team, that they get rid of the ball quickly, keep extra protectors in to pass block, and run the football. And so, but mostly get rid of the ball quickly and run the football. Again, if they're snap, take a step, let it rip, like the odds of you realistically getting a sack there, or even really pressure, are not high. They're not, because they're not running these long developing plays. They're not doing anything that really gives you a few seconds to get into the backfield and to make pressure. And so I don't think that it's fair to really criticize the lack of sack numbers so far. LSU, though, true test there. I know that they also have starting center Billy Napier is banged up with an injury, and that is still Brian Kelly said he'd likely be probable, maybe listed as questionable, but I think the fact that you've got your head coach saying, hey, probable, means there's probably a pretty good chance he's going to play, regardless of what the designation tag is for him. And even if he does play, he's not going to be fully healthy. So even if he does play, I don't think that Caleb Banks should struggle a ton with that, should he be playing there. And again, I'm not saying, oh yeah, like Caleb Banks is going to dominate him. I'm not doing that. But I am going to say that if Caleb Banks is playing and mostly healthy against a Braylon Moore that is not healthy, Caleb Banks should win that matchup handedly. George Gums should be able to make some plays on the edge. Tyreek Sapp hasn't had a great year so far. Just hasn't really been himself, right? Like he's missed quite a few tackles this year already. And that's unlike him. I'll say that. I'm someone that used to be really critical of Tyreek Sapp, and then he changed my opinion last year. This year, I don't think he's been the same exactly. But still, like these guys should all, Jaden Woods should be able to eat. You should be able to attack this, or maybe not should be able to eat, but if you are able to eat, then that's got to be like the focal point there. Pressuring Garrett Nussmeier, getting him off his game. He's got like the knee tendonitis that, he's got the knee tendonitis that, Brian Kelly says isn't an issue. I don't believe that. I do think that once you get to him, he'll probably get a little jittery. But like, you got to pressure Garrett Nussmeier. I don't care if you're blitzing, throwing crazy crap at him. I don't care what you're doing. You've got to get after him and just throw him off his game, get him off his rhythm, get him going. Because if he does get comfortable, he's going to kill you all day. He is. I think you've got to show blitz basically every single play, whether or not you actually are blitzing. I feel like you got to show it every single play because Garrett Nussmeier is really good at, sending you in motion, bringing you back, making the adjustments. Like we've seen him do it multiple times now. He's really hammering that home. Literally son of a coach. And so we've seen him do that a ton. He's going to try to play chess with you. And he's going to do that. You got to go, hey, when he goes in motion, you're going to go with him. But guess what? You're still playing that assignment. Like if you're dropping back into a hook zone, they send him in motion, you're still dropping back into a hook zone, you're just doing it from a different point. That's it. Bring him back, same thing. Like, you have to pressure Garrett Nussmeier and throw him off his game. This is a huge game for them. He's had his moments this year. Pressure him, get him off his game, force him to try to get rid of the ball quickly underneath, let your secondary linebackers make tackles, or let him try to throw the ball deep and just keep hitting him. But you threw him off his game completely last year with just incessant pressure. If you get home early, you got a decent chance of rattling him again, because he's just going to go, oh my, this is now 5 quarters in a row of them just pummeling me in the backfield. Keep it going, keep it moving, keep attacking, keep dominating. That's it. Like, honestly, that's got to be the mindset. Whether or not you're dominating or not, got to be your mindset. Keep dominating and keep dominating. Oh, and by the way, keep dominating. Florida Gators offense can do another thing that can help this team win. We'll talk about that when we get back with Locked On Gators. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all of the details. Mazda brings the same intention to how they craft every single model. So you can feel Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to available Napa leather upholstery. You can make everyday drives feel like anything but, from smooth handling to intuitive controls. Like our players, we sweat every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. And the NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for a kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel. I've been a big advocate of it for years at this point. Derrick Henry, you screwed me this past week. Just want to throw that out. But also, Bears had the lead. Brandon Olsen, bet Vikings money line. Chef's kiss. Never trust the Bears. Never trust the Bears. Never do that. Just so you know. So, are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day, we are available daily and free, right in the podcast and on YouTube. And to wrap up today's show, we are going to talk about the Florida Gators. In order to beat the LSU Tigers on Saturday in Death Valley, you need to be able to combat the blitz. It's honestly as simple as that. They're going to be really aggressive, right? They're going to be really aggressive. They're going to attack you from multiple ways, multiple directions, multiple angles. They're going to use their linebackers. They're going to use everybody they can, right? They'll blitz safeties. They're going to get weird with it, because that's what they do, right? Like that. There's just no other way to explain it. That's what they do. They do it all the time. They play press man coverage, or not always press, but they're always playing man coverage. That's Blake Baker's bread and butter. That was so many B's, and I love alliteration, but that was so many B's. But that's Blake Baker's bread and butter. Is we're going to play man coverage, be really aggressive up front. We're going to run stunts. We're going to run twists. We're going to come at you like crazy. You've got to combat the pass rush plan that they've got going. Because, again, they're going to try it all. Because especially the narrative right now is Florida's offensive line is playing poorly. They're run blocking poorly. They're really not doing that bad of a job in pass protection, especially when Caden Jones is in at right tackle. I think he's done a fantastic job so far. But LSU is going to play man coverage on the back end, and blitz linebackers mostly. Safeties will come occasionally, but linebackers are going to be the main blitzers. The ends, defensive linemen, they're rushing. This is not Florida. Right, like LSU and Florida are probably polar opposites defensively, where LSU's not dropping edge rushers into coverage a ton. That's not what they're trying to do. They're not dropping defensive ends that are run stopping defensive ends into coverage. Like Florida drops Tyreek Sapp into coverage. LSU's not doing that. I think Jack Pyburn's dropped into coverage like 3 times this year so far. That's not a lot at all. And so they're not doing that. They're trying to get after the quarterback. They went out there in the portal and they added Jack Pyburn for, I guess, just a starting defensive end that can mostly help defend the run. They added Patrick Payton to try to bring back, I guess, what he did in 2023. They're trying to get that juice from him again. This is a defense that is going to be really aggressive at the point of attack, at every point of attack, right? Whether it's in coverage or up front. Florida has to figure out a way to stop that. And there's multiple ways to do that, right? Like I'm not telling you how to do it specifically. I'm just saying there's multiple ways to do that. You can keep tight ends into pass block. Hayden Hansen, Tony Livingston, you can keep them both in. Then, by the way, before anybody complains, they're both going to be out there. Get over it. Hayden Hansen, Tony Livingston, keep them in the pass block. You can do that. You can give them all like, and even running backs too, right? We'll throw the running back room in here as well with Jaden Bob, Jacoby Jackson. Whether it's your tight ends or your running backs, you can give them all assignments and just say, hey, if this guy blitzes, I'm in pass pro and that's my assignment. If he doesn't blitz, I'm leaking out and I'm going some direction, whatever it is, right? Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'd say probably try to linebackers work up the middle, running backs try to work the flats. That would be the block and release that I would say. I'd say, hey, Hayden, if I don't know, we'll say linebackers. If Harold Perkins is dropping back into coverage, you're gonna run up the seam. Why not? Tony Livingston, if Whit Weeks is dropping into coverage, you're gonna run up the seam. I'm just using up the seam. You're gonna use a dig. Fine, we'll use a dig. You're gonna run a dig. Jacoby Jackson, if you've got whoever you have on that play, if he drops into coverage, you're going to hit the flat and just try to attack in these different kinds of ways of just be prepared for the blitz. But if they're not blitzing, then try to take advantage. You don't have to go, oh yeah, well, now we're keeping 7 guys into pass block and they've got 7 guys in coverage. And so of course everybody's covered. Like it doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be like that. It could be, hey, if they've got 7 in coverage, we've got more guys running routes. You could do that. I want you to attack with quick hitters. The moment you see them playing off coverage, I want you to go, hey, we're going to run a slant, wide receiver screen, something, which again, I know people are going to cry about. I don't care, man. I'm talking about good football. I'm talking about winning football. If they're playing off coverage and you're pretty confident that they're playing, I mean, honestly, whether they're playing man or zone, if they're playing off coverage and you're pretty confident that you could hit a quick slant, or that you could hit the, I don't know, you could say drag if you want. I don't care. You could say the screen, whatever it is. If they're playing off coverage, you think you could hit that? Take it. It's a simple, take it then. If they're going to give you that, take it from them and then kill them doing it. Run screens. If they're going to be aggressive and over pursue, you've got screens going up. That means your offensive lineman got to block just whoever's in coverage in front of them, which is going to be the guy in coverage on the running back, and then anybody else in the area. That's it. Take it. Like they're going to give you things. That's why I'm just saying I don't care how you specifically do it. You can use them all. I don't care. They're going to give you ways to attack them. Run toss plays. If you think they're going to blitz the interior, run a toss play. Like they're going to give you ways to attack them. They're going to give you ways to beat them. But as Billy Napier, as Russ Callaway, as anybody on that offensive staff, it's your job to recognize how they're going to attack you and to try to think of the counterpunch. You've played against Blake Baker before, multiple times. He was at LSU last year, but before that, he was at Missouri, where you played him. Like, you've faced him before. You're familiar with him. There are multiple ways to attack him. You've done it multiple times. You cooked him in 2023, I think it was. Pretty sure it was 2023, where you lost the game. It was the 33-31 game, where you gave up like the 4th and 400. But you cooked him. Your offense was really going well. Injuries happened. Your offense slowed down, but you were cooking him. And when you brought Max Brown in, you were still cooking him. You know how to beat Blake Baker. You beat him last year. It's just a matter of going out there and actually doing it. Strategically, you know how to do it. Don't overthink this. he's probably going to come out and he's probably going to be more aggressive than usual, which defensive coordinators are going to do that. I know I keep seeing people on Twitter go, well, if they're stacking the box, why don't you go spread? Because you know why they're stacking the box? Because they don't respect DJ Lagway right now. He hasn't been an accurate thrower of the football this year. They don't respect his arm right now. So they're not believing that you're actually going to beat them using his arm. And once you start doing that, they'll adjust. But until then, they're going to keep attacking you like crazy. And they're going to say, hey, prove it to me. You got to go out there and prove it. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free wherever the podcast and on YouTube. We'll be back tomorrow. Talk more Florida Gators football for Locked On Gators. I'm Brandon Olsen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with New York Giants on SI and swampsignal.substack.com. And I will see you all next time.